There is also concern about another bill that was passed. It allows smaller firms to terminate their contracts early without penalty if renegotiation fails, but they will still be liable for outstanding debts and obligations. MPs wanted to know how assessors come to a decision when resolving disputes. Brandon Tenoto with more.
Only businesses that earn below a certain amount annually and have suffered significant losses due to the pandemic are eligible. As such, MPs asked how the eligibility would be set and how it will be ensured that no one party is unfairly burdened.
The criteria for the revenue drop should not be too conservative, else it will only cover companies that are already deeply in the red, facing imminent solvency issues.
I think it's also important that we don't forget that landlords too are likely to be affected by this range of measures.
Our overarching goal in designing the architecture of these two bills is to help the economy for the long term. We are neither on the side necessarily of the landlord, so we're not pro-landlord or pro-tenant or pro-hirer or pro-supplier, but we want to achieve a fair balance between the business entities and provide a framework for them to relook at their operating assumptions, look at it in the context of what they know today about the economy, about the restrictions to the businesses, and then make a considered decision as to what the renegotiated terms ought to look like.
Under the framework, parties can turn to assessors appointed by the Law Ministry if there are disagreements. For instance, these assessors can determine how much compensation a tenant will have to pay in cases where smaller landlords' finances will be hurt by leases being ended early, to which Labour MP Patrick Tay raised concerns over how these decisions would be made.
I have residents as well as fellow practitioners who have feedback to me and raised questions and eyebrows over some of the decisions made by the assessors where a claim or dispute is brought before them under this Act.
These assessors are organised in a form where there is a district judge who heads each of the groups. They discuss the outcomes across the different assessor panels, and in many cases, particularly when we first set up the assessor panels, both Minister Shanmugam and myself were involved in reviewing each decision, making sure that there's parity across the different assessor panels, and to really discern the different issues that come through so that there's alignment and uniformity in the decisions. That said, if Mr. Tay is aware of any other outlier decisions.
For now, consultations between the Law Ministry and the industry are still ongoing, with further details on the framework to be set out later.